Alright, so we'll try and keep part 3 short and sweet here. We are talking about cardinal rule number 3, keeping it parallel. So the idea here is, let me move my little video head there, so there we go. What we want to do here is make sure that we're keeping ourselves parallel, and this is true for all of them, overall, mid-range, and close-up. We will start with close-ups. So think about this. Here we have our firearm sitting on the ground. We saw this firearm in the hallway there in the first segment. It's sitting there in the blue hallway, and there was that mid-range picture that was really distracting. Mid-range picture from the other angle, not so distracting. So here we are trying to show it in close-up, and look at it. We are looking across it, not down at it. So we're filling the frame more or less. You could actually be in a little tighter with this, but you still, even if you fill in the frame, we can't read anything on it. Versus looking straight down on it, basically creating a 90-degree angle, we can see it. So that's what we want to do. Think about, you've got, say, here we go. All right, so here we've got a surface, and we've got an object on it, and so we want, it's a little USB thumb drive, and so I want to take a photo of this. So if this is the field of view I have with my camera, what I want to do is I want to be looking straight down at it. I don't want to be taking a picture from over here looking across at it. I want to be looking straight down at it. So you want to look at it. The idea here being is, say when I take a photo looking straight at it, you can read Fox Valley Technical College on there. Versus if you take that picture from this angle, you can't read anything. If you take that picture from this angle, you can't read anything. From this angle, you can't read anything. The only way you can read that is from this angle. The same is true when we get into our close-ups with scale. I don't know how many times I see it where I got a picture of an object and the ruler sitting like this. Can you read this ruler? No. Now can you? Yes. So what you need to be doing is getting an object in parallel and be looking straight down at it. We want to be making lines. We want to be getting that 90 degrees. Now there's a couple different kinds of versions of parallel. I mean, we're looking straight down at it, so technically we're not really parallel. What we're wanting to do is have the object and the surface it's on be parallel, and we are tangent to it. But what we're talking about here more is more of the parallel is going to be when we get our mid-ranges. Now, see this, we've got everything in line. We've got this bullet casing, and we have this light pole. And we're looking across the bullet casing at that reference object. It kind of distorts the view. What are we looking at here? Look at this, look at this. We went down, we got a little bit lower, and we're trying to look across the ground at that bullet casing. And suddenly now, we've actually shortened the bullet casing. Look at how we did that. These are the same image at the same proportions. And look at, in one image, the bullet casing looks like it's this big, and the next one it looks like it's this big. And look at the pole. The pole is like this thick, thin pole that's tall, and the next picture it's this thick pole that looks kind of squat. So, we end up with some differences here. Versus if you try to make a triangle, as they kind of describe in the book, trying to be an isosceles triangle, where what you want to do is kind of keep that parallel where these objects are in a line, and then you are back here, kind of going back to that rule of thirds, where we have something that's a reference over here, something that we're interested in over here, and we try to split the difference in the middle and look across to them. Now we end up with proportions that are proper. So keeping the plane parallel is basically the rule of third, is the third cardinal rule. But keeping in mind, not everything's going to be perfectly parallel. Where this one really gets its name from is this. This is where this rule came from. And, we just kind of still calling it keeping it parallel, even though we're talking about making a triangle or going straight at an object. But where this rule comes from is this, with our exterior shots, overall looking shots. Take a look at this. We're looking down this building. Look at how when you're standing on the side looking at this building, over here, the building roof line is here, but as we go, we end up with what are called vanishing points, and the building roof line goes down, it vanishes. So this building looks like it's going like this. And over here, same building, taking it from a different angle. Now the building starts up, and it looks like it's going down. So it just kind of fools the eye. It kind of tricks the eye. It distorts things. You know, most of us are used to looking at photos of buildings at angles, so it's not that big of a deal. But look at this shot. Look, we're looking straight at the building. The roof line is flat. The windows are all square. Look at how these windows, like here, they're kind of square, and here they get kind of trapezoidal. Here they're square. Here they get kind of trapezoidal. But in both of these shots, looking at the same building, if we look straight on at it, now we can see the building, and it's a square or rectangular building the way it was meant to be. So this is really where we're kind of getting this keeping things in parallel, where we're not getting off on these crazy angles looking at stuff. We're looking at it square. Same with like, and you're looking at, you know, an object on the floor. You're not looking across the object. You're looking at it square, so you see it at 90 degrees. And that's what we're talking about here. All right, so this is our last video for this week. We're talking about our composition and cardinal rules. Remember, the idea here is to be showing things fairly and accurately so that we're not distorting them, so we're not leaving things out of focus, making sure we're cognizant of the clutter in our foreground and our background, and making sure that things have the appropriate sizes and dimensions, that we're not changing our aspects and ratios so that suddenly things grow or shrink because of just the angle you took your photo at. All right, I hope this makes sense. It's a real, you know, simple video lecture system here. If anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate. Shoot me an email. Post on the discussion board in the Ask LaFave area. Give me a phone call during my office hours. Heck, if you're in the Fox Valley, stop on out to the Public Safety Training Center. But don't please sit out there suffering in silence. Let me know if you're confused about any of these topics. Otherwise, you've got your discussion board posting for the week. Make sure you get that posted, and I will be talking at you again next week.